All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Well, here we go. Got a couple of looks at Bitcoin here. This is tricky now. It's incredibly technical. Very hard to pick which one's going to play here. So we have to just react to swing by swing. I'm going to start with the bear count. Right, I do so much bull count. Quite a few Elliottians or technicians, we would say it that way, really favor this count that we've completed something up here via a diag. Big extension in the 1, 2, 3, 4. Feels a little bit forced here to finish it. Now you might look at that. Okay, what am I on? An 8-hour here. I'm on Phoenix, right? Our sponsor. Link underneath, right? If you're looking for a new exchange or you want to diversify exchanges, we're very happy with them. So okay, so we look here and we go, oh, well, okay, don't I have a goal? Yeah, I do. Swing right. Should surprise 0 people. Well, doesn't that mean that I have a golden corner pocket here? Well, yeah, it does. Although I would actually pull it this way to get better range on it. Target up here 140, right? Well, we got algo targets. We've got this, right, would be here, and then we've got this one here if it's a front run. So perhaps let's take that one off. Just look here. All right, could we get up to 131? Do we not have 80% odds of getting there? We do, right? It's long established, right? I do this almost every video I've ever done. Yes, we have 80% odds. 80% is not 100%. So we got to look at this and say, well, wonder why we stopped here. Right? Wouldn't that be a question that would occur to you? Now, I'm going to assume every member, every subscriber I've ever had, everyone who's ever watched more than 2 or 3 of my videos already knows why we stopped there. Why here? Why here? Well, assume you know why. Oh, I should have that teed up. Lost my ta-da. So here we sit just in a fib fight, right? Algo to algo. You cannot be surprised by that. You can't be. It's the dominant algo in the market. It's not why it moves, it's how it moves. I don't know how many times I've shown that, at least 40 or 50,000 times over the last 6 years. So here we are. Something I need to say there. So you look at this and you go, well, wait a minute now. I've got a channel on here. Let's take that off for a second. But doesn't that mean that I've got the exact same 80% odds on this direction? Yes, you do. That's a true fib fight. So who wins that? Well, if you're a bear, and this is, you remember, retracements are not necessarily bad news, right? In a healthy bull market, we want the retracement. So I've got 80% on both sides. So how are you going to pick which way you want to go? Well, to some degree, that's your bias probably going to be affecting which way you would lean. The Elliott count here is really tricky because it's open to interpretation. Until one of these breaks, it's just as technically valid and valid with regards to the way you're counting it. Both sides perfectly valid. Now, to be done here and go into an impulse here, if this were going to be the corrective low off of this, right, we'd look for something impulsive. There's a count that will get us there. We'll look at that in a second. But you got to look at this and think, okay, well, wait a minute now. If Bitcoin has topped here, if this is a completed 5, well, first, what did we complete? Have we put in a really significant major high here? Well, you might, before you get that dramatic, you might look at it here and say, well, okay, well, if this is a 5 that's completed and we're going to correct it, well, again, where do they usually go? We would just maybe something down here for a hot box. If I pull this out, just having acknowledged that we're just caught, this is on guard, right? Who's going to win that? We come down here, the 50%, we're going to be in the 96, right? Again, that assumes we're going to break the golden down here and we're going to head towards, we might hit that median line. Time is a factor here. We could hit here. How would you know? Well, to some degree, it's going to be a function of if we start to retrace here, how deep does it get? Now, when we look at the bull count here, we'll review that. You could do the same thing again, right? So you would pull it here and say, okay, well, if I'm looking here, when I get to this point, right? Because again, this could tighten and tighten and tighten. I'm on an 8 hour here. If we come down here to 110, let's draw it, right? If we come down this way and we pop 110, okay, well, if we're going to push back this direction, right, we're going to have to break here. And again, you could get it again here, and you go down to a 15-minute, you're going to get them over and over again, because this is how the market moves, right? Again, I hope I don't have to explain that more than the 50,000 times I've shown it. So, okay, well, what's your leaning here? Well, to some degree, it depend on how you're approaching this as a trader. Are you in, from some of these pivots? Are you using leverage? Are you in from much lower and you don't really care, whatever it is, right? If we were to break 100, a buying opportunity because you're a long-term bull, you're thinking about where it's going to be 3-4 years from now. Okay, but we got to make a decision here. Well, but of course, keep in mind that no trade is a trading decision. I don't know that there's, gun to your head, you had to trade it, where's the better risk reward? Right? It seems like a silly question, but obviously, right, the short is going to have better risk reward. You put your stop, on the other side of the 707, targets down here at 103, that's much better risk reward. For the bear, right, for those of you that assume that this little pivot up here completed a 5, right, and many do. I'm not saying that's not right. I'm just saying we got to look at this as a technician and then think, okay, long term, what are my views on Bitcoin? If this were to retrace down here, we come under 100, 97, something in that range. Well, is that a gift? Is that a buying opportunity? Well, again, my view is what happens here is going to be critical, right? First, what kind of shape does it take? Do we get a 5 or do we get a 3? Remember, if this is a WX, right, and we're looking for a Y down here, that might be too sharp, but that means we're looking for a 3, right? So we're looking for an A, B, and we're going to intentionally, the anticipation would be we're going to break here, and we're not going to get stuck here, and one side's going to break, and we're going to go down here, and we're going to get a target. All right, now, of course, a bull might feel differently. So you have to look at that and go, God, is that bad news? God, if I could buy Bitcoin down here? Bad news? Well, of course, we don't, we could go much lower, right? We can't assume, it would never go below 100. Never. We never go to 95. But you can't make that assumption, right? So bad news here is for a bull, right? The immediate short-term play here would be much more biased towards the short side. And again, there's a count here that accommodates that. 80 on either side. So what's your bias, right? That's part of it. Now let's go over here and look at the bull count, right? Because I'm probably pretty well established as a perma bull. Sometimes that works for me, sometimes not. Okay, so here's an alternate counter, right? I'm on a daily. Again, over on Femex. Can I get a 1, 2 in here? Yeah. Can I get another 1 in here? Yeah. 1, 2. All right. Now, is it perfect, Elliott, relationships between the waves? No, right? But Bitcoin has a bit of a reputation for crypto in general, right? Often very shallow 2s. Can I get a 1, 2 extension in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, perfectly valid. 3 into the 4. 1, 2, again, very tiny 2, right? See, you might look at that and go, oh, well, that's just your bullish bias because you're accommodating that 1, 2 because that's what you want to see. I'm not sure I would argue against that, right? Certainly, I have a bullish bias. So, okay, well, how does that change things? Well, here's the range we're in. Here's the range from this low to this high. If we're retracing, we come down here 96, right? Again, the anticipation would be we certainly could break below 100. Now, if we come down here, is that bad news? Or perhaps a substantial buying opportunity? Again, your bias and how this develops is going to be a big part of that. So if we zoom in here, of course, you can see the same conundrum. Although where you're pulling it from is certainly affecting your bias. Okay, so here's golden, right? And then we do the same thing, right, as we just did. Right? Golden to golden, right? Buyer, seller. Again, that should be almost, I don't mean to insult your intelligence, right? Where's the better risk reward? Now, am I going to sell that? No, I rarely short Bitcoin. But is there an opportunity for a short? Yes. The only thing we know with certainty, right? One side's going to break, right? We're not going to go sideways. We're not going to stay in this range for, years. So what do you see? From the low down here at what do you call that? 48 impulse. Hard to argue with that. Correction. All the things that we want to look for at a pivot, right? So did we sweep liquidity? Yes. Did we come out of this impulsively? Well, if you're a bear, you see an ABC. If you're a bull, you're going to go, well, it's unusual, right, to be that shallow for the two, but look what comes off of it. I don't think there would be any dispute that that's an impulse. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, where did the 4 go? Where do they usually go? Let's get our wave 4 on there. Between 23 and 38. Did we come off of that with an impulse? Yes. But again, look at the 2. Did we come out of the 2, this little consolidation impulsively with displacement? Yes. Did we get a little final kick here? At the high, did we get the things we look for, right? To suggest we got a high. Did we sweep liquidity? Yes. Break of structure, retrace. Break of structure, retrace. Break of structure. It's just over and over again. That's how the market moves, right? We get pretty consistent. Break of structure, retrace. Break of structure, retrace. Break of structure. Right. I mean, there's very, very rarely do you not see that price action. I mean, very rarely. So wouldn't that be something you would want to focus on, right? It's why, week after week, month after month, year after year, I keep, harping on that. Don't be that guy ever. Don't ever be that guy. Never a need to do it. And if you do it, you deserve the outcome, good or bad, right? Win or lose, right? You deserve the outcome. So as we look here, we're going to come down here. Well, the real question is, are we going to get a 3 or a 5? What are we going to get here? Right? Again, even with the bull count here, if this is a 1 and we've gone WX, we're anticipating the Y. Well, could we go this far, right? Because that would be the range. This is the range. Why would you assume anything other than what does it normally do? Well, it's Bitcoin, right? So you might say, well, it's a different ball game, right? It's Bitcoin. Is it? Right? Careful of that thinking. What comes off of it, right? That's all that you can say here. So again, is there a trade here? Absolutely. Is it a long? Definitely not. You don't buy in that golden zone, do you? Well, somebody did, right? Who doesn't know it's there. I guarantee, right? They don't know it's there. Otherwise, if you knew it was there, would you buy into it anyway? I'd give you the same answer. You deserve the outcome. How about here? Are you going to sell into that? You deserve the outcome. All right, the market is a cruel master. Right, it punishes mistakes. That's another absolute certainty in the market. There are very few things that are absolutely guaranteed. The market has an uncanny ability to punish mistakes. Right, you're buying into or selling into a golden zone or buying into a golden, you're likely to get punished. Worst possible outcome, you get away with it because then you'll keep doing it. Okay, so if we look at this 1, 2, right, again, I look at this and go, oh, well, if it's going to correct. Okay, right. I don't think that's bad news. I think that's a buying opportunity. It's just a question of where are we going. Of course, you hear me say all the time, the market is under no obligation to do anything, right? It's going to do what it's going to do. Just, where do they usually go? This would be mighty deep, or we're into the lower 90s if it's going to do a 50%. Now, that's 50% log, right? Is it much different here? Is 93 out of log? Do you need to be in log here? Well, 70, well, you really don't, right? If you're just focused on this range here, you could stay out of log. Note, out of log, it doesn't change the goldens. You're still golden to golden. Funny how that works. But I will say this, you're pulling from the 4 here. You're completely on the assumption here that this is a completed impulse, and we've retraced here, so it's just a swing and a retrace, right? The algo, as you hear me say all the time, could care less about your Elliott count. I got a swing, I got a retrace. I got a swing. Again, right, just as I just drew it previously, you're going to get it again, right? Because I'm on a daily, right? We go down to something like a 2-hour here, it's going to really stand out. You're going to see it. I know that's a lot of lines, but as we come down here, you sure want to pay attention to what happens here, wouldn't you? Right? Wouldn't that make sense? Pay attention if we get down, where we know the algos are going to fire, right? I'd be looking there. Now, there isn't, as we look at this here, now you look at it and go, oh, is that A, B, C? Well, if you think that's an X wave, that's exactly what you're seeing there. Your eye is seeing, oh God, we could do it a couple of different ways. You're seeing that. Let's look at an alternate here. Let me zoom in here. I know there's a lot of Bitcoin. But is there a way that this can be bullish, right? Can we get out of here? How can we anticipate a potential break of the high? Well, this is a mighty choppy start here to get into a 1, but it's valid. You can get away with it. It's sure, it's a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1. Shallow 2. 1 deep 2. No question, I get an impulse here. Now, again, it gets a little funky. Oh, let's go to a 2 here. 1, 2. There's your impulse, right, with displacements, right? You see the fair value gaps in there. So you get, likely that's muscle involved there. Now, this gets very weird, but we can look at this and say, well, what's characteristic of a 4, right? We just stop progressing the trend. We go sideways. Liquidity below, above, liquidity below gets swept, and then there's a final little kick. Note where the golden zone is right at the point of control. And if you look at it, right, just enough to wick out those that have been taught to put their stop 1 tick over the 618, right? That's a hard lesson. Hard lesson was learned there. You don't do it, right? That's not the way to do that. That's why that happens, right? Algo, somebody got tagged there and go, oh, I knew that thing was coming down. So you've got the potential for this to be a 1, 2. Oh, pardon me. Let me redo that. 1, 2. Let's start over here. Let's make that. Oh, I need that brighter. Here, let's get that brighter and put it in 2 and put it in a line. Okay, so 1, 2. Let's see if it stayed with me. 3. Is it an impulse? Yeah, it is. 4. 3, we're looking for 4 on the anticipation that we're going to go up for a 5. Well, that would bring you back to the idea that this is, oh, come here. Get over here. Get our bull count. I got to get back here. Come here. 1, 2. Right? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, how do you know? Right? Again, this is what makes it so tricky here. How can we tell which is right here? Well, I got to go back to an 8. You can't. Is this ABC? Well, why would Bitcoin be retracing more deeply, right? Breaking below 100, getting into the low 90s. What would cause that? We just had a rate cut. Anticipation is we're going to have 3 before the end of the year. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, or that's what the market is pricing in. Why? Why is Bitcoin going to sell off that sharply? Would have to be an unknown variable, or something we can't anticipate. Just the macro picture just continues to be bullish for crypto. So choose your swings wisely. If you maintain a bullish view long term, I don't know that I'd be aggressively looking for that short, because the potential is that we do this, right? And then we're doing, maybe this is a very shallow 2, right? Again, it's Bitcoin's, certainly happened before. This would have to be 1, 2, and then we'd be doing 1, and then we'd be looking for another 2, and then a big 3. A little abnormal? Yeah, that would be abnormal. 1, 2, 1. Whoa, mighty shallow, because we'd be correcting. Oh, geez, I need better lines here. We'd be correcting this here. Ooh. Right, might give you pause. So again, if you're not comfortable with the short, my suggestion would be let's wait and see if we break here, could we come here, and then get into a more typical retrace and push here. So I'm not sure that I'm helping you here, other than just pointing out the fact that there's no substantial edge here. Other than if again, gun to my head, I'm going to short that. I'm not going to buy it. Okay, right. So I love it on Friday, middle of the day. I can tee something up for you that's ripe and ready to go. But with Bitcoin, again, the only thing that's ready to go there is a short. Okay, so hang on a sec. Okay, let's go over to ETH. Oh, let's see here. I've got let's go over to Fibonacci again. I like to use them when I can. There's our sponsor, right? Links below. I need to do that, right, to earn my keep. Just a reminder, right? Again, great exchange, no KYC. Open, throw some crypto in there to get a little bonus. They want you to trade, right? So again, we're very happy with them. Okay, so what do I have here? Oh, let's see. Let's pull out to an 8. What are the characteristics of a 4? We stop progressing the trend. 1, 2, any dispute as to whether or not we had an impulse here? I would assume not, right? So, okay, that just becomes, all right, well, where do they usually go? Now, you'll note here I have a shift on here because it's a correction. So something down here, I'm pulling up. Now, we broke the gold in here, so we can pull that off. So we don't have the advantage of an algo target down here, but we can look at this and say, well, again, where do they usually go? So if Ethereum were to come down here and catch the edge of this shift pitchfork, oh, we got a low volume node here. It would be worth paying attention to. We come down to this, right? That's a buying opportunity. So don't, if you're long ETH, don't be sweating. Oh God, my portfolio is dropping in value. Well, I'd be looking at this going, oh, let's see if I have that here. Oh, I got something like this. We got something like this. I want to see this, right? Where's the next? If we're going to put the 4 in here, 1, 2. Here, something like that. Again, you got to be patient. This is an 8-hour chart, right? You got to, if you're a swing trader, I touched on this on the live stream on Wednesday. That's the frustrating thing about it. You've got to wait. These trades take time, often weeks, if not months, to develop. You're out here, that could be end of the year, right? We all kind of want it now, right? It's just human nature. Like, come on, I want it now. I don't want to have to wait. Fuck, I have to wait 3 months for that? 4 months, 5 months? That's what makes that's the true challenge of swing trading, is the patience that's required. That's why so many want to go down to the shorter time frame where, you're much, much less likely to be successful. I'm sorry to give you the hard news. I'm not saying that people aren't. I'm just saying most are not successful on the shorter time frames. And it's a natural progression to think, oh, well, if I go to if I'm trading off the 5 minute, the risk is going to be so much lower. Yeah, but the trades are going to be so many more trades. Just the commission costs alone are going to be difficult to overcome. And you're trading against the machines, right? The lower the time frame, the more directly you're competing with machines you cannot compete with. Period. I don't care who you are. Can't compete with them. So why are you doing it? There's only one reason, because you don't have the discipline or the patience to sit through something like that. It gets right here. You're thinking, oh God, you can just map it out, right? Emotionally. Oh God, we swept. I know I don't want to, I got to be careful here. We swept the high. So that means a retrace. Well, yeah, it does. So, okay, well, if you can't stand it, take a partial here. But if you're in from somewhere down here below, right, okay, maybe take a partial and tighten up your stop. If not, go to break even. So if you get swept here, at least you got a piece of it. But then here's the real, what separates the good from the not so good. Can you go again? Well, I thought it was going to be a 3, so I was reluctant. Right? Well, what did you get here? Right? You have to be able to go again. Right? Now, oh God, it hit a 3rd. Oh, I got to take a partial. Move your stop up. Oh, can I add for the 5th? Right? See, aren't you anticipating that? Just like here, you're anticipating the 5. So you want to play for the full 5 to realize that, because you need that. You need those big wins to offset all the times you're going to get stopped out. And you are going to be stopped out way more than you're not. Period. I don't care who you are. So it's that discipline to hold. Very, very hard to do. That's what, swing trading always looks easier. But when you're in it and you're fighting the emotions, you're just natural human emotion dealing with money, right? And I don't know that there's anything more emotional than money. Some might differ with me there. But in terms of how you're going to respond to it, oh, that's a challenge. Okay, hang on a second. I'm gonna pop over here to the 1 hour. On the aggregator, this is on crypto, right? So this is not an exchange. This aggregates all of them. What's the subdivision looking like here? Well, there was a candidate here that we could have had the low in here, but we didn't get an impulse. Right? We got what certainly looks like a 3. So looking at this, trying to put this together, A, B, C feels a little forced. A, B, C, again, not particularly high quality price action here. We just consolidation. What's the one thing we know? Squeeze, right? So you hear me say every week. What do we know with certainty comes from contraction, expansion. So we get the expansion, but we don't get an impulse. You can't go 1, 2, 3. It doesn't fly. So you might look at this and think, oh, A, B, C. Now where are we? Surprised? You can't be surprised. So do you notice that both Bitcoin and ETH are in the exact same algo squeeze box? Just stuck between goldens? That, again, shouldn't surprise you. There you go, right? So where's so unlike Bitcoin, where's the better play here on the shorter term here? You want to be a buyer or a seller? You want to sell right into that golden? Well, if you're looking at this, if indeed this is going W, X, Y, X, and we're going to go A, B, C, well, you're late to the party, right? You wanted to sell it up here. All right, it looks like you had to do A, B, C. 1, 2, right? No, where we go? Right into the pocket, right? Same thing. Did we sweep liquidity? Yes. Somebody buy it there? Yes. You think they knew they were buying into the golden? Definitely not. So as we come down here, right, you're going to sell it right into that golden. Well, it has been tapped a couple of times. So you might rationalize it, think, oh, well, it's been tapped a couple of times, so they're going to break it. Well, they may. Is that bad news if you're a bull? Well, let's pull back a little bit. Is that bad news, or is that the buying opportunity? Where do they usually go? Not where do we know? We don't know. Nobody knows where it's going. Where do they usually go? Pretty good looking 1, 2, 3. Now we're getting a little funky, right? Again, what's characteristic of a wave 4, right? We stop progressing the trend. That kind of looks like what we're doing here. Now we're just stuck in a fib fight. Oh, I got this on here. W, X. A little weird, right? That we don't sweep that W, but it's just very 4-ish. So if you have a bias here, if we break a little bit lower, if we break this gold and we come down here, well, I'm very interested in being a buyer, not a seller. Look at the, I can't script that any better. Impulse, 5, 3, 5. Complex 3. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying this is easy Elliott or easy TA, or it's tricky. But step back. Is there any question in your mind about whether or not we have a 1, 2, 3? So what's your alternate? That you're so bearish you think Ethereum is just did a big ABC and we're going through the floor? Really? Well, that would be a bold take on it. Again, why would Ethereum be retracing that deeply? Well, something happening we can't foresee. Well, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just looking at that. It seems less probable, and that's all we ever get, right, is what's more probable. Where's the slight edge? Right now, do you have an edge? Well, the only edge is the context of the large account, because you're just stuck in a fib fight here. Let's go real quick over to ETH to Bitcoin. I'm kind of keeping an eye on this. A little disappointing here. It looks similar, but it's the same idea. Again, just common sense. Well, where do they usually go? This would have been shallow. Same thing. 1, 2, 3. Any question about that? I think not. So are we doing? No fuck. That'd have to be W, X, Y, something like that. Is that a buying opportunity? As far as I'm concerned, that's a gift. Do we have that? Do I know we're going to get that? Of course not. But it certainly looks like, same kind of thing. Why does it stop here? We'll go. Oh, why? I haven't pulled this, but I can suspect. Where's the target? You got a series? You might. Let's get you right on that low. That high looks good. Right, that looks like that could be a 50. Get right on there. So this is how the algo rolls. Oh, come here. All right, there's one. Now we use this pivot and we draw for this pivot. 2. Where are the targets? Oh, I could probably just put these right here. There's your 2 algo targets. Right here's the 23. Could you put a channel on that? Yep, sure could. Come down here. Hey, heads up. And don't be surprised if it happens again. Right? We do this and we come back and then we go again. Right? Because that's how the algo rolls. Right? You want to trade them until they fail. Right? So winner, 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 winner. Eventually, if you keep doing that, you're going to have a loser because that's going to come. And then what do? Right? It's the same thing, just going the other direction. Now you're waiting for the 3 to bring down here so you can get into that. And that's how money is made in the markets in 2020. Well, it's been that way for a while. So we go here. Oh, look at that for a free draw. I've been doing this so long I can eyeball it. So that's what you're looking for. Then I got a low, and then do I get an impulse here? Maybe we go up here. Do I get an impulse here? What's the correction? Do I get a 3? Is this a 5? 5s and 3s, right? So that's the genius of Elliott, as I keep saying all the time. Okay, let me pop over to, let's see how we can do it here. Same kind of thing, Ripple. Right now, as I mentioned, this is one I watch closely. Right, this is my second largest holding. I shouldn't even mention that. Not that shouldn't matter. It's just one that I watch closely because if this hits where I think it's going, 26 might be a good year for the old trade devil. Okay, so do we have the ingredients here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why would you assume something else? Impulse. Did I correct in 3? Yep. Well, let's go down to a 1. How are we doing here with this? Off of this low here. We sweep some liquidity? Yes. 1, 2. Did we get an impulse? Yes. Again, why would you assume something else? Now, is the 2 and the 4 perfect? No. Does it need to be perfect? Right? Perfect. I don't know that I need it to be perfect, right? I don't want it to be so abnormal that I'm like, oh, that just can't be. 1, 2, 3. That's a little weird in the 4, but I get a pretty good kick for the 5. And then I would always, it takes so little time. If that's the 1 and that's the 2, where do we go here? 200%. Okay, that's a pretty good kick for the 3rd. Where are we in the 4? Well, it's, we don't want it to go too much below that 50 because then you're going to start to reevaluate this and go, uh-oh, is that an ABC? Because you can see how that could play. This could be a W. This could be an A, B, C into a W, X, and then we're going to go A, B, C. But that actually might not play, right? It looks less probable because of the wave relationship. If you were thinking that was an X, this would have to be 1, 2, and then we were going to do 3, 4, 5 to give us an A, and then a B, and then a C, and then it's a much deeper correction, and the entire count's going to fall apart, right? You don't want it this far. Right, that's the critical pivot. You can see my alert right here. We don't want that. So right now, there's no reason to not stay bullish unless we start to really accelerate down here. And then again, can we do it that way? I suppose you can make a case that if there was a big extension in the C, right, that if we were going to do the C down here, we could still hold it. But again, that would be quite irregular. I mean, not that the market, again, is obligated to do anything, but if we think about what you'd be saying, you'd be looking for that C to break down here. We'd be going to 2618 for the C relative to that AB. I'm not saying it's not possible. Most common, second most common, third most common. For a C wave. Could I put a golden corner? I don't have a golden, but I could put a corner on that. Where is it going to hit? What's more probable? Again, that's all you get. There's no certainty ever in the market. Ever. Is there any certainty? Just probabilities. Can I put a channel on this? Yes, I can. Right now, I've already broken it. Right, so already that's I prefer that didn't happen. Let me clone that. I absolutely would prefer that had not happened. I'm not going to lie about it. Get right here. I really don't want that going much further because if I have to, can I get it out of here? If I have to pull this to double it, I'm starting to get that the wave relationship is starting to get so bad then I'm having second thoughts on it. Right now, if we hold here, I'm anticipating maybe we sweep this low. Oh, let's see here. Let's play it out, right? So if you were looking at this, oh, okay, could we sweep this low? Well, I sure as hell don't want it to overlap that one, because this is an impulse here. If we overlap that one, that kills the impulse. So what's more probable then? A, B, C. So, all right, it would kill the idea that I've got the 3-4. So one to watch closely. Now, there's lots of good news about XRP, right? We got the ETFs, or shit, I think one of them's already here, right? So we've got ETFs coming and a huge influx of capital anticipated. Now, careful, right? If everybody anticipates that, right, what are those that can move the market likely to do, right? Bring it down so they can buy it lower. But it's too soon to go there, right? So there's no trade here, but I'd be watching this very, very closely. If anything, that 288 critical level, we do not want that to break. Okay, how am I doing? Oh, 28. Okay, hang on. All right, I've been a bit long-winded today. Maybe I'll finish up here with Solana and SUI. Now let's start with Solana, because this was a lot of back and forth with my team trying to get a count that's valid here, that fits. This is the really tricky section. But again, after a lot of back and forth with my Elliott Wizards, this seems the most probable. Now this is insanely bullish. Okay, let's pull. This is, if you're a bull for Solana, this is good news. Now let me get it back into log scale here. Okay, it's kind of the same idea. There's really, you've got to be quite the crypto bear to not see the 1, 2, 3 there. Now, could that be the 4? Well, you get a little more complexity here. That's likely a WXY, and it takes longer. Oh God, come here. Oh, my machine is lagging on me a little bit. Okay, that's what you're aiming for. Right look? Yeah. Yeah, that's the right look. Right? So we're looking for that. Now, how about the geometry? Now, okay, we get a little bit of an overshoot here, but that's quite a ripping 3, 4, 5 to complete the 3. Okay, so if we're pulling, again, where do they usually go? If we're pulling for the 4, let's get our wave 4 template on here. Now, where do we know where they go? Where do they usually go? Between 23 and 38. So there's no reason to be bearish here. Again, crypto-friendly administration, the Genius Act, we're going to tokenize the whole world. Solana should do very, very well here. So now if we go look at this count, it's so bullish. There's a little bit of bull porn going on here. So let me get this all up here. I mean, it is definitely on the, I mean, it's, my God, that's here. Let's take this one up. I mean, it's very, very bullish, right? If indeed, I think we have 5 or 6 ones that are all unrealized, right? We don't yet have a 3. So let's go to a 2-hour here. See if we can make sense of this. Okay, so here's the candidate for the 4. Now, can I get an impulse into that 1? It's a bumpy ride, but you wouldn't call that corrective, right? We've got lots of displacement. Let's pull this off here. Lots of displacement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh God, it's kind of a mixed bag up here, because you get a double, but you do get, oops, come here. You do get the liquidity sweep that you want to look for at a pivot. A, B, oh, it could be W, X. Oh no, it looks like that would be a 5. So that's A, B, 1, 2, it's a little bit squishy there. You might have to do it here, actually. You might have to do A, B, C into a W. Actually, that looks like a better count. Changing it on the fly. A, B, C. So we'd go W, X, Y, because I'm finishing with a 3 here. Okay, so there's my 2 with a W, X, Y with a little modification on the fly. Let's go to a 3 here and get more of it. Okay, so there's the 4. 1, 2. Now, this is where it gets very tricky. 1, 2, there's an impulse there I have to account for. Right, so for those of you that are working on your Elliott, or maybe members, students, right, that are working through our belt system, this is very tricky. So the key to it is, if you spot an impulse, you have to account for it somewhere. You just have to, right? So 1, 2, I want an impulse here. 4, can I get the 5 into a 1? So that's 1, 2, 1, 2. Do I get an impulse? Yes, I do. 1, 2. Do I get another impulse? Yes, I do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it skinny? Yeah, it's skinny. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. How many ones is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 1 2s. Now this one looks like it's realized and perhaps it's completed. I know it gets a little. You start choking on the 1 2s. Like, oh come on, man. All those 1 2s are going to complete. Well, if you're a bull, that's great news, not bad news. Very tricky section here. I'd encourage you to pull it up, and because you won't remember mine, right? Just pull it up, see if you can count it out yourself. Look for the 5s and the 3s. If you take the time to do it, you'll find them. This looks so much like a triangle, but because of where it is, it looks like you've got A, B, C, D, E into a triangle, but it doesn't fit where the location, because you can't have a triangle on a 2. So you'd be looking for 1 triangle 2. No, that doesn't work. What's the alternate? If not this, then what? Well, if it's not a triangle, what's the alternate? 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Now, you would choke on that a little bit until you see the impulse come out of here. So it sure looks like the 1 2 3 has completed. So let's zoom a little bit here. And this is just, this is the sausage making. So hopefully this is what adds value while you watch these videos, not just for, where's the trade, right? That you're trying to learn in the process. 1 2. Okay, well, let's look here. If this is a 1 2, let's use the most recent. If this is the 1 and this is the 2, where's the highest probability location for a wave 3? I can draw it. Again, not that we know where it goes. Where do they usually go? 1 2 3. Okay, seems like a pretty solid candidate for a 3. How about the 4? Where do they usually go? Not where do we know it's going. Where do they usually go? What do we want to pay attention to here? Because we want these impulses to hold. So we don't want to overlap that 1. Because I've got this, now look what I can do here. Now, so just using what I've got so far, I get my nice channeling, right? And channeling is critical to a good impulse, right? It's when we start breaking beyond too far, right? Which we just looked at with ETH, right? We're breaking too far. Oh, it makes you a little uneasy. Like, oh God, have I missed it, right? Is my analysis wrong because I'm too far outside of that channel? When you're in the channel, you want to play the channel. So if it's coming down here and we're going to pop here, you don't necessarily have to sit here with the limit order. But if I get a reaction, that first little pullback, because of course I'm anticipating a 5 here. Now it may not be an impulse. I'd like the impulse, but I can anticipate that. I don't know that's coming, but I can anticipate it, because that would be the 3 relative to this 1. Well, let's see where that would take us. Right, same idea. If this is the 1 and this is the 2. Could I get to the 2618? See, I've already hit here, right? The internal hit that. So now if I'm going to go higher it's probably easier if I draw it. 1, 2. If I'm going for the 3 up here, well, I got a pretty beefy target here up at the 2618. I mean, that's an extreme for a 3. But because the internal did the 1618, and now I'm retracing into the 4, I can anticipate I could go that high. Now, it could be 227, it could be the 200, but that's a reasonable target up here, and I'd be overshooting the channel, the larger channel, just by a little bit of an overthrow. Could I do that? Well, let's probably take a bigger 3 here. So now you put that in the context. So wait a second. If Solana is doing that, is Bitcoin going down? Probably not. I mean, not that that's impossible, right? You've got to look at Bitcoin dominance, or how we doing, what's ETH Bitcoin doing. But you see, if we're this bullish in Solana, why would you think that Bitcoin's going sub 90 or below 90s? Collectively, the whole picture seems at odds with itself. If Bitcoin's going to roll over, if we're going to roll over and we're heading down here to well, this would be 102. So Bitcoin's going to go to 102, and Solana is going to collapse, and we're going to go down here. Anything's possible. What seems most probable? where's the trade, right? As far as I'm concerned, you trade this until it fails, right? Just like the measured moves, right? I'm gonna look for that 4. I'm gonna look for a reaction to try and get into the 2 to 3, right? If you're in our belt system, we wouldn't let you trade the 1 or the 2. You could only trade the 3 or the C, right? By design, right? That's why we do it that way, to build that habit. Okay, how am I doing? 20, oh shit, 38. Okay, I'll probably finish up here. Okay, so this is SUI, right? We're kind of tracking the 2 S's here. So we have a corner, right? It's not a golden. We get an impulse into a 1 here, WXY. Right? We have to back into it because we finish, okay, because we finish with a 3, right? So backing into that makes me think, oh, ABC, 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 right? So that's how it kind of would guide your thinking. What happened at the pivot? A, B, it looks like we got a 5 to finish that. Now, 1, 2, 3, it gets a little skinny there. Do we have it? Oh, let's get the God MA out of there. Oh, come on. Oh, I got a bunch of other stuff on here. Let me get out of that. Okay, all right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's tricky. But it doesn't look corrective. Higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher. Oh. It's not a lower low, right? We had some structure break in here, but now I get a higher high. But that doesn't look impulsive. It looks like what we've done here is an A, B, like an expanded B, and we're coming down for a C. That's what it looks like now. Remember, people love to be critical. An Elliott count is a snapshot in time. At this moment in time, this appears to be an A, a B, an expanded B, and we're heading down for the C for a 2. Now, that could change tomorrow, and then you're like, well, you were wrong. Your count was wrong. Come on, don't be a tool. Right? It's right now, that's what it appears, right? Again, this could change quickly. What we can't say here is that this is less likely to be an impulse because we've now overlapped the 1. So the idea with the 2 was in and we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4 seems less probable. Can we get a 2 down here? Oh, so the first reaction, well, let's get this here to that 1. The first reaction is at the 50. I don't get an impulse. I mean, you were all teed up to go there. I could see how somebody would have been disappointed here. Oh, you're ready to go, right? It doesn't. So if I'm doing this, what was that, 3-4 days ago, 1, 2, right? There's no reason not to think that. 3, oh shit, 3, oh, 4, oh. Doesn't happen, right? And now we've overlapped the 1, so you have to rethink it. It has not killed the bull count, but it's making me think, oh, likely this is coming down. Well, where do they usually go? Let's take the length of A projected from the proposed B. Okay, if we're going to do more than 100, we look right here. Where's the POC? Well, essentially, where's the market considering fair value? I got there, 346. So if we come down into this range, interested? Again, my suggestion would be not sit here with a limit order. Watch for the reaction. Do I get a reaction? I'd look for a retrace. Looking for that. All right. Well, oh God, I had a bunch of other things teed up here, but I'm already at 40 minutes, so I'll probably stop there. Maybe we'll hit some more on the next live stream. Okay, the market just popped again. Okay, well, that's good news. All right, so did Bitcoin do anything? Doesn't look like it. Before I get out of here. Well, we're just dropping further. Making this the potential here. Now, I certainly have an impulse here as this goes down. I watch for the zone, right? We don't want it to, where are we right now? But that's a straight line. So you'd want a little more complexity there. Something like that. Can we get the 4 here? Well, if so, right, we're going to need this to pop, right? And we're going to have to break that golden, which is no easy task, right? But let's watch the overlap of the 1, see if we can get out of here with an impulse, right? And then bulls are going to be in better shape. Now, if we were to do that, right? Don't assume, oh, we're going all the way up here. You don't want to assume that. Just look at that. Wouldn't that be a little abnormal? That's whoa. Why? Why would we have that big extension in the 5th? There'd be a reason. What's more probable? We do something more normal, which would imply, okay, well, again, if that were to happen, it hasn't happened yet. We'd have a break of the sell side resistance. But what that would tee up is the potential for the next retrace to a wave 2. Let's get you back here. So now we'd be looking for it after that happens down here. 1, 2. Back to 114. So that's the beauty of Elliott, right? Right now we can forecast that, but that doesn't mean we know that that's what's coming. It just means if we hold above this one here and we get a pivot here, that again, all you get is probabilities and the slightest of edge. And you got to recognize where the algos are. I think we know where they are. So let's watch, see what happens there. We don't want this breaking down here because then the bear count ABC starts to kick in. If we break on this side, then we're looking for this. Something else has happened, ABC, and then we're thinking AB, and we're going much lower. Okay, that'll give you plenty to think about there. Jesus, I almost fall over. Okay, hope that helps, right? As usual, all our links are underneath the video. If you're interested in this kind of technical skill set, we can help you with that. That's why we exist. So belt system, or just pop into our Discord. Free to join, right? Get in there, ask the other members how it's working for them. Okay, guys, with that, I'll wish you a good weekend, and we'll catch you next week.